ready to create an optic art illusion using shapes and patterns to create the illusion of movement in space. Op art is short for optic art, and it's a form of abstract art that creates really cool tricks to the eye by creating illusions of either movement or forms that aren't actually there. This is not something I made up. I have seen examples of this all over the internet, all over the place, ever since I was a kid. This is such a great drawing exercise because you don't have to be perfect at drawing to create an illusion that really captures your eye. All you need is a pencil, a ruler, a piece of paper, and a marker to fill in your op art. If you love learning about art, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. To start, you need to find a circle to trace, or you can use a compass to trace a perfect circle. Once you have your circle in the middle of your paper, you are going to then use a ruler to divide it into a checkerboard. A checkerboard pattern consists of cubes that are the exact same size, and you create this by creating a series of horizontal lines that go all the way across your paper, which is what I'm doing now. Because I want the cubes to all be the same size, I am using the width of the ruler so I have a standard size. You could definitely eyeball it or measure, but this just kind of gives me the stripes that I'm looking for. Once you've gone across your paper, and don't draw into your circle, and you've gone across your paper horizontally, you can either flip your paper and do it horizontally again, or you're going to add your crossing lines, which in this case would be vertical. Again, I am using the width of the ruler so I have perfect squares. I'm not great at straight lines. I'm terrible at measuring, and anything that requires a math brain, I usually struggle. So simply using the ruler as a guide is just letting me know that I'm not drawing a crooked line and that all my squares are equal, so my checkerboard is really a checkerboard. Now that I've done this step, it's time to make things a little bit more challenging. Start by putting a long vertical line in the dead center of your circle. Then your horizontal lines are going to bubble out like a fish eye. So the middle line, you're looking at it straight on. The lines off to the side are going to bubble out. Do the same with the horizontal lines. So the one in the middle is going to be straight on. And then for me, I have really big squares. So I just have two lines that bubble out to look like a fish eye. So imagine that you have a tablecloth or a sheet and there's a soccer ball sitting underneath it. So it looks 3D even though it's just lines. My lines aren't perfect, but I'm going to go ahead and map out my checkerboard. I love this trick of putting a small dot in every other space so I get my checkerboard right. Here's a hint: use a pencil in case you make a mistake. Don't just jump straight to marker or Sharpie. So a checkerboard is every other, and so it's not striped, so the second line you would put one in the middle, or you would skip one for a checkerboard pattern. Again, use a pencil. Why would you jump straight ahead with the marker? That's just asking for trouble. So it is a little tricky in the circle itself because it's bubbling out like a soccer ball underneath a sheet, but it's still every other line. So as long as you figure out like which square belongs to which square, what a smart sentence, you should be good. So I'm going to start with my circle because I want to get it right. And so this one's easy for me. I can see the diagonal. I can see the checkerboard here. And then I'm going to use a Crayola marker to fill it in. Once you know which square to fill in, you can use whatever art supply you would like. I almost wanted to use Sharpie, but then I realized I'm very selfish with my Sharpies, and that would take maybe 2 Sharpies to finish. And this purple marker was just sitting in my desk, and I thought it would be a nice color. You could use crayon, colored pencil, marker. You could even paint something like this. As I'm doing this, I kind of wish that my checkerboard was smaller. So instead of using the ruler and doing like 1-inch sections, it might be cool if they were 1/2 inch or smaller. It would be more work as far as like measuring out your checkerboard pattern. But I think it would be cool to have smaller checkerboards so it looked even more 3D. But this is the correct effect. It still will give that optical illusion that op art is known for. And it's just a simple way to explore this style of art and to explore, 3D tricks in drawing. It's really fun to be able to trick people. As artists, that's what we do, right? This is just a flat piece of paper with some markings on it. But as artists, we're able to trick or fool people's eyes to see something that's not even there. So that's the cool thing about op art. And this is a really fun and easy way to learn this type of visual trick. And there's definitely more complicated drawings that you could do. I have a couple in mind that I might try out for some of my new videos. Let's speed things up a little bit so you don't have to stare at me filling in squares for 5 minutes straight. So with the marker, you can go back over sections to fill it in. So if it looks streaky, put a second layer on there and make sure not every pattern is a stay inside the lines pattern, but a checkerboard definitely is. And instead of drawing on the table or whatever surface you're working on, put a scrap piece of paper or something on the edges so you can get that full checkerboard effect. So I'm going to take things up a notch because at this point it really does look 3D, but I'm going to use my pencil to shade underneath my circle to make it look even more three-dimensional. So I'm using a pencil. I thought about using a gray marker, but I knew I wouldn't have as much control as I wanted. And a pencil is a really simple material that most people have on hand. So pick a side of your circle, which I know makes no sense. Top, bottom, left, right, and that's going to be your shadow to make the circle look even more three-dimensional, like it's about to just pop off your page. I'm using my tissue to create lighter gray areas that fan out and spread out from the darkest area underneath. Then I go back with my pencil and darken again to create that nice shadow that makes this look so cool and three-dimensional. So this is very basic shading. It's just dark to light right underneath so it looks 3D like it has a shadow, but you could go crazy. And if you did this in colored pencils or even markers, you could shade each square on the sphere to make it look even more three-dimensional. But I wanted this just to be a simple, easy to understand introduction into op art, something that you could do without having the foundations of shading and blending. I'm thinking of a tutorial right now that would include not only op art, but shading and blending of colored pencils that would be a level up from this one. This one is just a great drawing practice, a great drawing exercise to start to understand how form and shape make things look three-dimensional and how important pattern can be to create movement. Using my tissue again just to soften the pencil lines, and you could use more expensive or fancier pencils to get more of an effect. But again, this is all about the basics, trying to keep it really simple so any beginner or anyone new to this drawing technique can jump right in with success. So here it is. I think I'm all finished. A simple optic art illusion using a checkerboard and a circle to create the illusion of movement. Thank you so much for sticking around and making art with me. And if you're interested in more drawing tutorials, check these out.